RFK Jr. goes absolutely crazy in the Senate hearing yesterday. We're going to talk about what he said and who he blamed for the problem. Again, it speaks volumes to what we always talk about, how really no one in Washington's working for us. Also, we're going to talk about what Chip Roy said. I mean, Republicans being Republicans. It's amazing how Trump doesn't like Massey, but Massey's the only one really pushing for no tax on Social Security. You'll be blown away at what Chip Roy said. Again, he tries to play both sides. He tries to play the staunch conservative, but to be honest with you, he's like, well, it cost us too much money, so we got to keep on taxing Social Security. So is there big changes coming to Social Security? Not if it's left up to your leaders in Washington. Also, we're going to talk about what Elon Musk just stated about Optimus. We're going to show you a video of what Optimus is doing, meaning his robots. We're going to talk about what he said about robots. In the future, it will blow your mind. But then he also gave a warning. He said, this is why I've got to stay over it and be to a point where we're having power at Tesla. He said, because this comes into the wrong hands, we will face a major problem. Then lastly, we're going to talk about, again, the dangers of religion, the dangers of not having true values and morals in a conservative way. We're going to talk about what this imam just said, his 40-year plan for America. It'll blow your mind. We've already started it. It's already happening in Europe. Now it's happening here. So are we really out of the woods yet? I don't think so. Let's dive into these things because it helps us prepare more and be better as we try to navigate this crazy world. Let's dive in. Hey guys, welcome to The Max. Thank you so very much for being here. We appreciate you. We humbly thank you for coming and watching our channel. Now let's talk about some of these issues because it does help us get better. It helps us understand more, especially as we try to prepare for the crazy times, especially when we talk about AI and talk about robotics. You're going to be blown away at what Elon Musk said. But first, let's talk about what RFK Jr. just said. He got pretty crazy. He straight up went off with the Senate yesterday. Listen to this. They were throwing shade on him because, you know, they always do with RFK Jr., which is a Democrat. It says, RFK just went off on the Senate hearing. He said, the reason our people are the sickest people in the world, the reason our people are not getting well, the reason our people are not actually healing is because you in the Senate have not done your job. You as lawmakers have not done your job. You've worried about what people have paid you instead of actually doing your job. What's going on? He said he pledged to end the epidemic of Alzheimer's. I salute the people wearing purple in this room. Alzheimer's is a very good example of how the NIH and the Senate and the leaders have gone off the rails over the last 20 years. They've done the research. He said, I've committed to solving the problems of Alzheimer's and understanding why we have this epidemic. He says, I believe that it is definitely caused by something that we can stop. Now we talk about food being a problem. You hear Alzheimer's saying it's like a type 3 diabetes. What if it's always down to the food and medicines that we're already taking that's causing some of these other things? Do your own research. Don't listen to a pundit. Don't even listen to me. Our mortality rate, the age that we are averagely passing at, is lower than it's ever been. Our expectations of health has went down. The fact that we're sicker and fatter and more unhealthy than we've ever been in our nation, but have more opportunity for healthier options, more opportunities for medicines, more opportunity for innovation, and we're literally sicker than we've ever been. So I think what RFK Jr. is bringing attention to is not just Alzheimer's, it's the fact that our leadership is not actually looking out for our best, they're looking out for their pockets. And once we realize that if we have as much innovation as we do, we have as much crops and good quality food as we do, we tend to push that by the wayside and look for bad food and then medicine to quote unquote heal that, which is ultimately maybe causing us more sickness. And that's what he was bringing up with Alzheimer's. People were yelling at him, talking about how bad he is for exposing this. Truthfully, what he's doing is telling you exactly what you need to hear, that our food system and our medicine system is broken because they're too interwoven and they're causing basically a cause and reaction to each other. Something to think about. I want to talk about what Chip Roy just said, and this is why, I know y'all, some of y'all like Chip Roy, and I think Chip Roy's like Nancy Mace. I think he's like Jim Jordan. I think he's like James Comer. I think all these guys want to be conservative, but they're only just swaying with the current of what looks good. Here's what I'm saying. Listen to this. This is from Dana Lowe shared this because she had him on the podcast talking about the big beautiful bill. Chip says the provisions for no tax on Social Security is not in the big beautiful bill. His reasoning is it is really expensive and mechanically hard to do. It will cost around $1 to $1.5 trillion to do it. Now I want you to understand where I'm coming from. You have Trump that says no tax on Social Security. You have Thomas Massie who just rewrote a bill to say no tax on Social Security. Now remember now, Social Security, you're mandated to pay it. You're mandated to pay into a Ponzi scheme that you could actually invest the same amount of money in a typical stock market, in equities and ETFs, or in typical anything else retirement-wise. You're mandated to do it in the way they say it. And then on top of that, they give you a portion of it back, a stipend of it back. It's not actually your whole amount. And then they're also going to tax you on it. So you're getting taxed on the front end, and then you're getting taxed on the back end. It is a complete and utter Ponzi scheme. And if you're on Social Security, you should be up in arms about this, especially to your legislators. So your Republicans who stood beside Trump saying, yeah, no tax on tips, yeah, no tax on Social Security, that's a little too far because it actually cuts our budget. Well, here's the smart thing. When my wife came home from work and decided to homeschool our children, when we said, okay, we're not going to allow her to work anymore, we want her to homeschool, that's more important. We cut our budget to fit the new income. Doesn't that make sense to you? Okay, let's talk about it on this side. If we're wanting to help the American people like the Republicans say they want to do, why don't we look at actually cutting our budget to the new amount of money that we're able to take in? So instead of them trying to find other ways to spend your money, they're trying to find ways to save money and then cut our own budget. But no, see, Republicans don't even do that. Your Mike Johnsons, your James Comers, your Jim Jordans, your Chip Roys, none of them do that. They say they do that. They say they're going to help you. But what they did is they just said, well, no tax on tips. Well, that's great for the 20-year-old that works at Zaxby's, but that's not good for the person who is on a fixed income at 65 years old who's struggling to make ends meet. And they're taxed even more on the stipend money that they've paid in for 40 years of working. Now, that's why Republicans almost deserve to lose, because they're worthless when it comes to actually passing true law. Now, this is where I push back, and I made a comment, and man, you talking about got thousands upon thousands of views on Twitter yesterday. You know, I said Trump should not be going after Massie. Trump should be going after the Lindsey Grahams. Trump should be going after the people that stand him against him, the Murkowskis, the McConnells. That's the people that Trump should be going after. Massie's the only one that actually rewrote a bill to include no tax on Social Security. But again, he gets pushed back on, but to be honest with you, he's got core principles. Now, am I saying he's perfect? No. But to be honest with you, if I was Trump, I would be working on the side of someone who literally represents America first, which is Massie, than the people that literally want to take you to war, like the Lindsey Grahams and McConnells. And the swayers like Chip Roy, who was like, yes, I'm for conservatism. Not so much conservatism when it doesn't benefit me. Nancy Mace, all those, they're all the same. They sway with the wind and actually don't represent anybody but their own back pockets. And that is the truth. The solution to both of these problems, you take lobbyists out of Washington and you make term limits happen. And you do what Warren Buffett said. I'm not a big Warren Buffett fan, but he said something I thought was so good over the last few years. He said the biggest solution to fixing Congress, he says, is you pass a law. Of course, term limits are not going to happen. He said, but you pass a law, if they can't balance a budget and they can't stick to a budget, then they don't deserve to serve, and so therefore they're automatically terminated for a next election. They can't go in for re-election if they cannot balance a bill. Simple as that. He said, it's so simple. He said, in our businesses, if we can't find a manager or owner or CEO or CFO that can balance a budget, we fire them because they can't do their job. He said, so why are we allowing these people to have passes when they can't even balance a budget? They spend our money, they overtax us, they overregulate us, and we keep putting them in power. He said, this should be illegal. So the solution is always going to be coming back to get these people out of Washington, and if they're not willing to work for us, then why do we keep electing them? I want to go to what Elon Musk just said. I'm going to show you this video and this clip of what Optimus is doing. I have to turn the audio down because they'll copyright me, but I want to show you a piece of this video. Now, doesn't it look good? It looks like this thing can help us, and it can take off years of stress, folding clothes, cleaning up. I mean, Bill Gates came out and said AI is going to be so strong in 2030 that we're going to be at a 2-day work week, not a 5-day work week. For most Americans, they're like, yeah, absolutely. Gives me more time to get away and not have to work as much because AI is doing my job. Well, if AI is babying us and we're not doing what biblically we're supposed to work, toil the ground hard, understanding what true work is and taking care of our family, then don't we see that being a problem? I want you to listen to what Elon Musk just stated. And I think this is it just proves my point. Elon said, I need to retain enough control over Tesla if we're building billions of robots. He says, sufficient control only comes out. They do not need to oust me. Let's not have this whole thing in discussion over alleged pay. It's not a money thing. He said it's reasonable control over the future of the company because, especially if we're building millions of potential humanoid robots, we need someone who is willing to not look at the bottom line dollar, but to look at the safety of overall Americans. What he's basically saying is, you could use these AI robots for a lot of bad things. And if it comes to power and corruption and money, there's a lot of people that would love to have their hands and be able to utilize that for their own benefit. Remember, Elon Musk lives in like a 1,700 square foot home, sleeps on a couch, and mostly does not actually have anything nice or new other than he wears t-shirts that says Occupy Mars. Honestly. So what he's saying is it's not about money. It's about the fact if we don't have someone who's willing to control this, or at least be over this, to say we can't give one authoritarian power over this. He said, if they take me out of power and then we're building billions of these robots, he said, this could end up very, very badly. Here's why. Listen to what else he said, because this makes perfect sense. He says, I think humanoid robots will be the biggest product ever. The demand will be insatiable, meaning people will want these because they want to have somebody to personally wait on them and have a personal assistant, but also it makes it quote unquote easier for them. What does convenience do? It can cause problems. Listen to this. Optimists can now watch videos. Based on that video, just like a human, they can learn by watching. Now, I don't know about you. If a robot can pick up things, could it pick up, if it doesn't have heart and soul, could it pick up how to build a car and fix a car? Absolutely, that's great. Could it even fix open heart surgery? That's great. But what if it picks up something like murder? What if it picks up something like crime or war? What if all of a sudden we can use these robots to go over and invade a country? If it can pick up things by watching it, and it has no soul and no morals and values, and you inbred into these things that it's about power, don't we see that could be a problem? I think that's what Elon is saying. Look, there's a lot of power here, and we need to make sure that the people over it are honest people. Now, is Elon that person? Don't know. I'm just saying, if we're willing to build these things, which I'm fully against, but if we are going to build them, we better have someone in control that has got some humbleness about them, because if not, they have now got the world in their hands. Now, not spiritually, but when it comes physically, they are in utter control, because everything that we own is AI controlled, and you don't believe the robotics plays into that? It'd take an EMP blast to stop that, and that puts us all in the Stone Age. And they said if an EMP blast actually hit places like America, people would go crazy. 90% of people wouldn't even make it anyways. So it's really a lose-lose situation, and we're doing it all in the name of convenience and ease. Prime example, I want to give you one more statistic, and then we're going to go to the last story. But this shows and proves to me why people hate Thomas Massey and why people still stick with Democrats when it doesn't matter. Listen to these studies, and this is from Republicans and Democrats. To borrow this from other commentators, they do not care. The American people do not care. Even GOP voters do not care if we raise the deficit, cause more deficit spending, more overregulation, if there's tax cuts done for Americans. No wonder we are on a downward spiral, because 60% overall, and including 74% of GOP, says if we can get tax cuts, no matter what it adds to the deficit, no matter how much it's hurting our kids, we want that. You know what that means? That means no one cares about the future. No one understands savings. No one understands patience. Everybody would rather have what they have now, and they don't want to wait on it. Now, should we cut taxes? Absolutely. But what did Chip Roy just say? Well, we can't cut taxes on Social Security. It costs us too much. You know why it costs you too much? Because they're not willing to quit spending money in Congress. So what this says right here is the same thing. We're willing to screw over America's generations, your kids, your grandkids, your great-grandkids, your Social Security, everything that you've worked hard for, everything in America that we've worked hard for 300 years, we're willing to give all that up just so we can have a tax credit now. Instead of that, what we should do is just cut taxes, period, and go back to not deficit spending and only spending with the money that we have. It's amazing that the banks require you to do that. I mean, we tell our children don't spend more money than you have. It's amazing that we try to teach that in basic economics, but our own government cannot quit spending. That's why I don't think R's and D's have too much difference behind their name other than just maybe one or two little issues. Most of them love taking your money, over-regulating you, spending your money, and then acting like they're giving you back by giving something back to you because they're giving you some kind of tax credit or tax incentive or some kind of benefit for children or some kind of benefit for like welfare or a free state. What they're doing is taking more of your money and giving you a piece back and you're excited about it. It's unbelievable. It's like if all of a sudden there was a Reese's peanut butter cup, a king size Reese's peanut butter cup, 4 Reese's peanut butter cups. No, we don't eat Reese's peanut butter cups, but I'm using this for example. Work with me, people. If we had that and my kid picked it up out of the store and said, Dad, I can have this, right? And I said, yes, we'll buy it. We'll buy it right now. We go up to the counter and the counter says, look, you've got 4 Reese's here, you pay us. And he's like, okay, Dad. Gives me $1, I give him $1, put up there. We buy the 4 Reese's. And then when he gets out to the car, he says, Dad, I can eat all 4 of these right now. No, actually you owe me 2 since I paid for them. And you know, they're really mine because you're my kid and you know, I need to make sure that you can get home, so we had to gas up the car. So therefore you give me 2. No, wait, you give me 3 Reese's, you just have 1. And he's like, Dad, that's unfair. Okay, look, I'll give you half one back. So of that Reese's paid for the majority on, and he only gets 1 Reese's, maybe another piece of a half because I was willing to give it back to him. But I kept a big portion of that Reese's so I could eat for myself. That would be what we would consider wrong, correct? That's exactly what our government's doing. Now don't laugh at my stupid little Reese's analogy. The point is, if I buy a king size Reese's, I want all of it. The fact is, if I need to give something to someone or help someone out, I'll give them my own Reese's and not the government taking away from me to give to someone else. The point is, if we're not watching our Congress and watching our leaders, the R's and D's mean nothing, because what they're all doing is taking our money, giving us a little bit back, and we're applaud them. Oh, thank you so much for passing this big, beautiful bill. But ultimately, that's $20 trillion to our deficit spending over the next 10 years. It's not smart. Last story, because you know I've been wrapping up with some of these stories dealing with the dangers of morals and values and not having enough of those in America. Listen to this story, and I want to pay attention to this because this is an imam in America. When Muslims become the majority in the next 40 years, non-Muslims will have to convert to Islam, pay a toll, or be killed based on Sharia law. This is a clear message. And for some reason, the imams are saying this. They've been saying this in Europe. They're saying this now here. It's happening in Texas. It's happening in Michigan. It's happening in other states. Here's the thing, though. No one wants to talk about it because they want to use the same thing. Well, this is just freedom. They have their freedoms to do and say this kind of stuff. It's not freedom when they're trying to take over the Constitution and change the law and ultimately cause the demise of another individual. Until we're willing to speak up about these kind of things, we will actually keep going down a toilet bowl and flushing down the toilet because we are not willing to speak up. The reason I'm getting silenced is because I'm willing to speak. The reason a lot of your favorite commentators and a lot of your favorite conservatives are getting silenced and getting ostracized, and the reason RFK is getting rocks thrown at him is because he's willing to speak against the fray. He's willing to speak against the dangers. He's willing to tell you the truth. I was disappointed with Cash and Bongino yesterday on that interview, saying that, well, there's nothing to see here, nothing to see here. That wouldn't be the same Cash and Bongino from 2 or 3 years ago. Now, does that mean there's nothing to see there? No, but they better prove some facts. If not, no one's going to believe in them either. When you hear stuff like this guy saying, though, have you heard one conservative really talk against this? You know, now that everybody talked about Epic City and talked about all that going on in Plano, Texas, finally the government, you know, started doing something about it. But it took people talking about it. So here's my ploy to you. Here's the solution when it comes down to it. More people speak about truly conservative things, sticking up for morals and values. More people speak against unbalanced budget and how Congress shouldn't spend. More people actually get up in arms about a degrading America. More people get up in arms about the fact that no one is supporting true husband and wife, Judeo-Christian values, and raising children in the homes that we should be raising. When people start speaking about all of that and actually bringing it up in awareness, those R's, those Republicans like the Chip Roys and Nancy Maces, they'll get on board. They're like, oh yeah, absolutely. Now, I want them on board. But you know what it took? It takes a speaking. You know what brought up the tension to Plano, Texas? Was a speaking. So the DOJ stepped in, Texas stepped in, and now we may have a solution. You know what's going to stop people like this guy saying that Sharia law is coming to America within the next 40 years? Because people like Hillary Clinton just said yesterday that Project 25 and Trump is trying to bring in husband and wife marriages and having children again, and we don't know if that's really the cause of making America great. Actually, we thought the immigrants were going to bring that in and actually make it great. What we're actually seeing from a lot of the biggest players is the infiltration of America, and this is part of that, where he's literally saying the quiet parts out loud. But guess what? Not one conservative leader, not one leader in the Senate or in the House of Representatives is speaking up against this imam preacher that is literally got a viral following saying this is what he's going to do in America. You know what it's going to take? People like you and me speaking. When we start talking and we start sharing these kind of stories, hopefully it will gain some traction, and those R's and D's will actually start representing America and not someone else. Guys, let me know your thoughts on all this, from the robots to the people who speak against America to literally RFK speaking truth about food. We need to pay attention to these stories, and don't just listen to what they say, meaning like the Congress or any of these people. Actually do your research and say, this may not be the best for us. This may not be for the best for us. The reason I've become a prepper and a homesteader and a sustainable living and homeschool our children, the reason we are the weirdos is because I quit trying to pawn my kids. I quit trying to pawn my money. I quit trying to allow McDonald's or Walmart to be the ones responsible for feeding me, teaching me, and taking care of me. The reason I work so hard is because I believe that is our role to do. That is our role to do, to take care of our family. Our role to take care of our spouses. Our role to grow our children up in the admonition of the Lord. That's our role, not the government, not the food system, not everybody else. It's time for us to take responsibility and speak up. Guys, thank you so much for watching. God bless.